Hey, everybody. Town Media Director Steve Brogan here. And wait a minute. Let me get to the right camera. There we go. It's Friday. Thank God. I can't believe it. We finally made it to Friday. We have the Friday wrap-up today. We have some great guests that are sitting in with us that we're going to chat with in a moment. I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching this broadcast, so you can check us out on Facebook, on YouTube. You can watch us at tyngsboroughma.gov on our live video on demand and streaming service. You can also watch us at Comcast 8 and Verizon 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough. Before I get to our guests, who I'll quickly show you who they are, just so I'm not keeping you in too much suspense, we have Adam Zand and Gregory Peveril-Conti here from the Library Land Project. We're going to chat with them about their project. It's a really interesting project that you're working on, and where they're looking at all the different libraries and rating them, and talking about some of the good things that libraries have to offer, and more or less trying to promote libraries, which is great, always a good thing. So that's really cool. So we're going to talk to them in a couple minutes. Before I get to that, I just want to say happy first day of summer. Hooray. It's finally summer. Look at this. Happy first day of summer. We have a graphic for it. That's fantastic, right? Happy first day of summer. However, if you are a Christmas fan, it is, 186 days left till Christmas? Something like that. Let's see. We had a Christmas counter up there. I think James lost it. You're fired, James. It's over. There it is. All right. Good job. Yay. 186 days till Christmas. 13 hours, 55 minutes, and 50 seconds. But who's counting, right? So close. So close. But it's the first day of summer. It's the longest day of the year, so it's the solstice. That's really cool. It means we're going to do this show for like 6 hours, I think. No. Joking. We're going to go for an hour, maybe a little more. Depends on how the conversation goes. But yeah, first day of summer, so very cool stuff. All right, so enough babbling. Let me. By the way, hi everybody to Instagram if you're watching there. This is a new thing. We're kind of trying to add Instagram into this mix. So hello and welcome on Instagram. Don't forget you can watch us also if you're on Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to go over there, you can ask questions, by the way, if you're on Instagram too. So for anybody watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, feel free to ask questions as the show goes on, and you can hopefully have them answered by Adam and Greg. So very cool. Okay, around town. So what's going on lately? There's a lot of stuff going on. You guys know already about the special town meeting coming up on July 23rd, and that's going to be this whole discussion about the golf course and whether or not to buy it again. That has come up. So it's very interesting, that whole thing. Depending on which side of the coin you're on, I'm sure you have your opinions one way and the other. Everybody does, apparently, especially if you're looking on social media. But it's quite the interesting thing to follow. It's going to be a heck of a night, I'll tell you that. July 23rd, mark your calendars, special town meeting. Tyngsborough Elementary School as usual, 205 Westford Road, and it starts at 7 o'clock. And again, it's all about the golf course, whether or not to buy it, the price, all that stuff. So be ready, get ready, mark your calendars. Also, don't forget that because it's now past Memorial Day, the town beach is open if you haven't been down there already. Don't forget to get your passes for the town beach. You'll need those so that you don't get towed. They're free to anybody who wants them, any resident, that is, if you go down to the town administrator's office, and they will give you a hang tag so that you don't get towed. It's a bad day if you get towed. Don't want that. Also, very excited to announce that the block party's coming up August 25th. That was really cool last year. I hope most of you got to get out and check it out. It was amazing. We had like all these food trucks, and so there was tons of food. We had bands. We had the Houston Bernard Band, which was really cool. They did a nice job, and there was, I don't even know the numbers, that were like in the thousands. I think we had like 2,000 people show up for that event. So, and that was only the first time we'd ever done it. So that was really cool to have all those people participate and show up. That's coming back again, August 25th. Same idea, more bands, more stuff to do, and we're even following it up at 4 o'clock with an open mic night at Old Town Hall, so we can keep the music going. We're going to invite the bands to come down, see if they'll come and play a couple tunes too. So it's going to be an awesome night, awesome day, and awesome event. So get ready, August 25th. Definitely mark your calendars for that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. And finally, I'll save some of this other stuff for the end. I just want to mention the fact that we are, if you are hard of hearing, our shows are available with closed captions on Facebook and YouTube. So anything we post on those two platforms. So this program is available with closed captions. I don't know if you can turn it on and off, or if you have to. I have to turn it on. I did turn it on. Yeah. Anyways, it's available in closed captions. It will be, at least after the show finishes. So you'll be able to watch it that way if you have any hearing issues. Same thing on YouTube. We've been trying to help, get a little bit more inclusive with that genre of people. So for anybody who does have any issues, you can watch with the captions on. And I know I kind of talk fast, so it might be a little tough to lip read me. I've been told that anyways. And the microphone blocks my mouth, so it doesn't help as much. But I just wanted to mention that so everybody knows. All right, so enough of that stuff. Let's talk to our guests. So we have Adam Zand and Greg Peveril-Conti. Greg PC. Here, let me turn your mics up. There we go. All right. Welcome, first of all. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. No problem. So you guys are running this project. It's called the Library Land Project, where you're visiting libraries, right? As every library that you can.
Yeah.
And you kind of do a little bit of a rating system on the libraries.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. Let's sort of start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about like the beginning of this project. Like what got you interested in doing library land and libraries and so on?
You know, it started really out of necessity.
Okay.
You know, we started a public relations consultancy together, Sharp Orange.
Okay.
And you know, we had to figure out where to work. You know, we could have gone to WeWorks. We could have gone to coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
Neither really was that appealing. Working from home, it's fine from time to time, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't get the collaboration. You don't get to work together. I live in Natick. Adam lives in Arlington.
Okay.
We decided to meet at the Newton Free Library because it was more or less between us, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's free Wi-Fi,
Mm-hmm.
you know, study rooms, plenty of parking, and we spent a few hours and got a lot done. We
Yeah.
figured out-
Interesting.
Yeah, super productive. We walked out of there figuring out what we wanted our website to look like, what kind of clients we wanted to go after, and we just felt like this had been a good experience. So
Okay.
as we were leaving, we said we should do this again, either here or somewhere else.
So I'm assuming both of you had been in libraries in the past, right? In
Oh,
your
yeah.
younger days, yeah, in
Oh, yeah.
school and stuff like that. I mean, we didn't have the internet, and
No.
back when. So was this like a rediscovery for you of the library, and sort of a realization, like, wow, what have we been missing all this time, or
You know, to a certain extent.
yeah,
You know, I had used libraries, you know, as a place to work. You know, I'd go to the Natick Library from time to time.
okay,
But I think that having a shared space, it was sort of a realization that there was something more that could be done.
okay,
And as Adam said, we decided to do it again, and we decided to go to another library. I think we might have gone to Waltham next, and then I think Weston and Wellesley, and we started noticing little differences,
mm-hmm.
and we decided to start rating informally at first those differences.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided to try to go to all the state's libraries. We were having a good time doing it, and it was working. So we set this crazy goal of going to all. I think there's between 450 and 480,
Mm-hmm. You pull up the map, James.
and that's kind of how the project started.
Yeah, Google
Okay.
Map kind of gave us motivation to see
Oh.
what we could do.
Yeah, I
here.
want to show the map right now. So zoom in a bit, James, on the
On the northeast there.
yeah, the northeast section there, because here it looks like just a few, but there's a whole lot of dots there.
Yeah.
So that's all the ones you've visited, correct?
The orange are the ones we visited.
Oh, the orange is the ones you. Okay, the
But-
blue you haven't visited
and
yet.
The reason they're
That's a lot
orange
of
is
dots, though.
our PR firm is called Sharp Orange.
Okay,
So we use orange as
gotcha. Right, that makes sense.
a key
Okay.
color.
Very cool. All right. So clearly, it's an ambitious task. I mean, you want to hit every library. Does every town have their own library? Because I mean, I imagine by the size of the town, they might not have the funds to sustain a library.
There are only
don't
a
know.
few
that work?
towns in the state that do not have libraries.
Okay.
And I couldn't name them. There's
We'll
there's two
figure it out.
towns that have a shared library.
Yeah, Hamilton Wenham is a fabulous library, not too far from here. So they figured out that why don't we pool our resources? It was a little political, probably,
Yeah.
leading up to that decision.
Right, because
Once-
everybody wants their own. You know.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and we do see a lot of larger towns. I don't know what the population tipping point would be, but a lot of towns have a main branch.
Okay.
You know, a centrally located library, and then they have smaller branches, and sometimes those might even specialize. Like
And Wellesley has 3 libraries.
Okay.
The main branch, they have the Wellesley Hills branch, which is a community-run library, and they have the Wellesley Fells branch, which is really a children's library.
Okay. Interesting.
So
You know what I thought was interesting, Adam, when you first came and I met you, you had mentioned that one of the libraries has or one of the towns or other cities has 4 libraries in it. I never really thought of towns and cities having more than one library. I just thought just
Well,
one would be.
is that
Boston has 24.
26?
Oh, maybe it was 24. Okay, I think
Yeah.
I
It was in the 20s.
And Newton,
Okay.
Newton has several, and some of those even have volunteer staffing. You know, the communities love their library so much that they decide to keep them going, and having more of a volunteer and shortened hours. But yeah, it's whatever town.
But Quincy has several.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's a handful of towns that do.
What town? So Boston has the most? What did you say, 24?
Yeah. Even Natick has 2, although they're independent. They're independent of each other.
Okay.
They have the Bacon Free and then the Morse Institute. So you
The
see it.
Bacon Free?
Yeah,
That's the name of it?
the Bacon Free
I'm
Library.
not going to that library.
It's a draw.
Bacon free.
It's a draw.
up
Draws
with that?
people
I'm
in.
That's pretty funny. So so having seen all these libraries, actually, before I get to that, I want to ask you this: how does your public relations business, PR business, sort of help you with the library land project?
So we try to time if we have a client meeting somewhere.
Yep.
Like we have a client in Bedford now, so we'll sort of time a meeting to a library with a client meeting.
Okay.
And going back to Hamilton Wenham, we brought a client who was located in Burlington or Woburn, Waltham, sorry.
But he
And
lives
we
in Devon's.
yeah, and we just wanted to get him out of the office. We're
Okay.
let's figure out what our second half of the year PR plan looks like. Meet us at the Lincoln Library or meet us at the Hamilton Wenham Library that we talked about.
Okay.
Super productive. Once again, I think he left sort of with a new appreciation. The Lincoln one was really fun, though.
Yeah, we've been to Lincoln a number of times, and it's one of our favorite libraries.
Mm-hmm.
The
It's a nice little town too.
it's a beautiful town.
Yeah.
We were talking to one of the librarians, actually the director, and we were asking about the clock tower, and she said, "Would you like to see the clock tower?" And of course, we said, "Yeah, we'd love to."
Yeah, absolutely.
So she took
Field
us
trip.
and our client up, through a little door, then up a staircase, and across an unfinished attic, then up a ladder,
Oh, that's cool.
and
That
into,
was awesome.
Nice.
into a little wooden room. And in the middle of the room was a clock. It was a mechanical clock.
Mm-hmm.
In 1963, they took that clock out and they put an electric clock in its place. And then in the early 2000s, they restored the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing piece of machinery. But our client he said, do you do this all the time? And the answer is, yeah.
Hey, that's cool. You got to impress
Yeah.
your client a little bit. Yeah, that's neat.
But to your question about how this dovetails with what we
Right.
do as PR people, in some ways, we think that library land is also a really good sort of test case, a
Mhm.
demonstration of what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, good point.
a year ago, library land didn't exist. And over the course of 18 months, we've developed a brand, we've established a presence, we've established credibility, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. And I think, these are things that we also help clients do. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
And of
Interesting.
course, Tyngsborough TV is the highlight of our media coverage so far. But we've also
That's not saying much.
no,
I'm just
no.
kidding.
We had a pretty big profile in Boston Magazine,
Okay.
and
Very cool.
heard from a lot of friends and,
Yeah,
past clients about that. And we also, I don't know if anybody listens to, especially on Fridays, Jim and Marjorie on Boston Public Radio and WGBH.
Okay.
we were
They
on
You've
had
been
us-
on some good sources then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they had us in the library
cool.
to do their news quiz, which was a natural. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
very
was a
cool.
really good time.
So let me ask you this: you've been to a ton of 100 and what did we say? 206 was the number
205,
outside of
yeah.
Massachusetts and counting inside Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
181 in Massachusetts.
Okay. And another 25, I think, right outside, something
outside.
like that. Yeah. So, anyways, my question was, having seen all these different libraries, like, I guess, what have been some of the biggest differences between the libraries, and what have been some of kind of the best things you've seen in libraries, like some of the most unique things maybe that other libraries aren't doing, something that jumped out at you?
Wow. I mean, there's such a rich kind of a range of libraries.
Yeah.
We have seen in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they have a maker space, and a lot of libraries are doing maker spaces now.
Okay. Yeah.
Chattanooga has a full-size loom. They've got a
Wow.
wood shop. They've got, not just a few 3D printers, but a bank of 3D printers.
And it's the whole fourth floor of the library, which is a fairly sizable urban
Wow, that's cool.
brutalist architecture building, and they dedicated the whole fourth floor to
maker
what Greg's
space.
describing. There's a virtual reality area where kids can kind of come up with their own gaming.
Wow.
Impressive. There was a zine area where also people can develop a zine like we used to do when we were kids.
Yeah, so that's cool. One thing that we've noticed is really predominant in public libraries around New England are grandfather's clocks.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a mystery.
Like the wood
big-
old school grandfather clocks?
yeah, big case
Just-
clocks.
Really?
Yeah.
In libraries?
Uh,
I mean, it seems like something that would go in a library, though. I guess that makes sense.
where were
Right?
we? Oh, we were in a library the other day that had two.
a mini clock.
It was when we were down in I can't remember. We have photos of it.
Okay. What's been the most beautiful library you've seen in terms of architecture, paintings?
So
Because they usually have a lot of really cool stuff in them, a lot of them anyways, the older
do you
ones.
want? How about we'll give you a modern
Sure.
library?
Yeah.
And we'll
Go
give
on the
you
website, James, on the
a-
homepage. We can maybe pull up one if you can find it quickly enough.
And so
So
there's
we can show the ones we're talking
I guess there'd be three varieties. There's a strictly modern, a total rebuild.
Okay.
Then there's sort of an old library that we love,
And there's
then
a
there's
hybrid.
that middle ground where it was old and they expanded. So I'll go first, and I'll go old. We love Nahant.
Nahant Library?
And Nahant, I think it was like a rainy day. I don't know if you've ever done it. You ride off, and it looks like you're driving into the sea. There's this sort of
That spit of land.
Okay.
Yeah, land after a long road, and you pull up to this. It's almost like an English manor house.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
beautiful like wood ceilings and separate
really?
rooms. But one of the features, tell them about the glass stacks, the shelving and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Nahant still has glass floors in their stacks, and
Really?
they're open stacks.
Pretty thick.
And the idea was to let light come from upper floors to below. And it's cool. You can actually go back. There's a handful of libraries that have them. Most of them are closed stack libraries now.
Okay.
But Nahant, you can go and explore, and it's worth going to
That
see.
sounds
That's
cool.
gorgeous,
Yeah.
actually. We just pulled up a picture.
Yeah, the
Yes,
Nahant library.
let's show that real quick. So that's the Nahant. Wow, that does look like an English manor house.
Yeah, it
You're
really
right.
does.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Let me try to think what my old library choices.
Oh, you're going old. Okay.
Well, well,
You can stay in the old.
you just did an old. I want to think
Yeah,
what my
you wanna
favorite
stay
old
with
one
an
is. In some ways, I really like the Lowell Public Library.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of my favorites too. Yeah.
It's that
It's a great one.
their history room or their reading room with all the Civil War, all the Grant paintings.
Unbelievable, aren't they?
It's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I've spent a bit of time in there. There's some cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone there a few times, and it's funny when I go now. I say, "Will you please turn on the lighting on the Appomattox painting
Mm-hmm.
because it's a beautiful piece of work." And yeah, I'm a Civil War buff. I'm a big fan of Grant, and so to see that in how that library, in spite of having had some challenges over the years,
Mm-hmm.
including recently a flood
yeah.
that
Yeah.
severely damaged that room.
Yeah, they've had some major problems there, right?
But they have been able to overcome those problems and really present just
Mhm.
a fantastic example of, an old school library doing great things.
I like I've always liked the structure of that library as well. It's the Gregorian, I think they call it. Something like that, I believe. We did a piece on it a couple of years ago. I used to work in Lowell, but I think it was Gregorian, I believe, is the construction style that they use. But it's really cool, the big giant granite stones. and
Yeah.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Richard Romanesque, I think is it called. Romanesque.
Oh,
Yeah,
Romanesque.
excuse me.
Okay,
Not Gregorian. It's the calendar.
that's me.
Wrong word. Anyways, so those have been your favorite old libraries.
Yeah.
How about some of like the modern stuff? Like what's been the most unique, interesting modern library?
This one's pretty easy, I
The
think.
modern library is Webster.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Is the Gladys Kelly Library in Webster, Massachusetts is. I'm not familiar with Webster. I wasn't. I knew that it was a shoe town.
Mm-hmm.
That the shoe company closed down. So it's not an affluent suburb like Wellesley is or Newton, but they have built an amazing library. It's the first and only library to which we've given a perfect score.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
And
I
what's
want to talk about the rating system
Sure,
soon too.
sure.
But yeah.
what's cool is they had the architectural firm that worked on it, Odinello's.
Okay.
They did the entire thing. They did the design.
Right.
They did the interior design. They did the lighting design.
Do you guys have pictures of that, by the way? There we
It's
go.
on our
There's one.
website, too.
We do.
This is it.
Okay.
That's-
Yeah, go look at the website at their website and pull it up
Okay.
through there because they'll have their own pics they've taken.
But they've just. It was amazing to see how integrated all the pieces were.
Mm-hmm.
And to see it in an unexpected town was just an amazing thing.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. Yeah. There we go.
Also a care for their
Oh, yeah, that
history
is very
too.
modern looking.
So on the second floor near the study rooms, which are fabulous, there's 5 monitors that give sort of the history of the town,
Yeah.
the history of
The library.
the history of the library, a little bit of history on Kelly. I love as you're scrolling there. Those are sound dampening.
Drapes.
Drapes, like kind of thick fabric,
okay.
like really cool.
Decrease from like the road noise, I bet.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit of road
That's
and
just outside.
internal too. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
with so much glass, you would have sound reflecting. But they've intermittently placed these dampeners that really
Okay.
That's really amazing.
Yeah. So I want to ask you quickly a question that was came in on Facebook. It's from Elise Wolf. She says, in conversations with their colleagues in public libraries, many do not allow people to basically set up shop and work there. They discourage people from using libraries as their offices. Have you run into any issues with this in regards to that question?
Not really. I mean,
Not in Massachusetts.
no. I mean, I'm not sure what setting up shop is. Our work is usually sitting and writing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're not transactional. We're not, I can see how some libraries might not want people exchanging money in a library or
Mhm.
having business deals. That's not really us.
Mhm.
We really are. We're looking at our computer. We're talking occasionally.
Mhm.
We're taking conference calls. Most of the libraries that we've talked to love our spirit of co-working and sort of entrepreneurship in libraries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear where she's heard that, because we'd like to talk to that library.
Yeah,
and
at
see
least if
why
you're still
they're-
watching,
Yeah,
chime in
send
some more
us
on
a
that.
note.
Where you've
Yeah,
heard that.
we'd love to hear where that's taking place.
Let me ask you this. So something that I really like about the Tyngsborough Library and a number of others around have done is they have this new sort of library of things in order to
Oh,
try to
yeah.
bring people in. Have all of the other libraries that you've visited embraced this, or is this kind of unique, or where do we stand?
It's interesting. We've done a lot of libraries here in Massachusetts. We did a bunch across the South.
Okay.
In the South, we found very few libraries that were doing the library of things.
Really? Okay.
And
Just still books and paper, print stuff?
Well, I mean, DVDs. I mean,
Okay.
But
But even an understanding of the term library things, people would like, what?
what is that?
Yeah.
Here in Massachusetts, most libraries, I think, do have, to one degree or another, non-books, movies, CDs.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a really nice collection. I know we were talking to the director when we were here last about a new telescope that had just come in
Mhm.
and how popular that was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think you guys have embraced a nice trend that's happening in libraries and are doing it successfully in a way that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty
People are
nice.
getting creative too. I don't remember which library it was, but they're doing carpet cleaners.
That's
Oh, really?
Millis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, one of I think it's Drake. It has like baking pans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have ukuleles, the telescope you mentioned, a bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of different things.
Newton lets you check out banjos.
Really?
And
I'm
I
going to have
think
to go down to Newton.
a
that
ukulele
out.
is one thing to check out, but I think putting the banjo in the hands of an untrained person is a dangerous thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, for many reasons. Somebody breaks out with Devin went down to Georgia randomly. Very cool. So what's of all the libraries you've visited, I might have asked this, but what's been your favorite, your top number one?
So this is part of our road trip. I think
Okay.
I think this might be a longer story than you're ready for. So
Okay.
so we went as we did that southern loop, Savannah, Georgia to New Orleans,
Yep.
and then back up to Chattanooga and over to Richmond, and then we arrive in our nation's capital, Washington D.C. And
Where the best library? Okay, yeah.
Library of Congress is extraordinary, and there's two
Yeah.
experiences that people probably have at that library, and thankfully we were told how to have a better experience. So a lot of people show up as tourists, and you want sort of a quick in and a quick out, and you get your Instagram picture.
yep.
And there's this amazing entryway. You go through security and everything, and then you come into this almost like Palace of Versailles ceiling
That's beautiful.
and
That's so
beautiful like
cool.
marbled
Yep.
staircase.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that is the
We
reading.
can't even come close to compete with that.
So you
Wow.
might not be able to get into there. That's the
That's the-
first one. That's the Palace of Versailles sort
Okay,
of
yep.
approach.
Yeah.
So Greg and I, we had some work to do. We actually had a conference call to prepare for that day. And we're looking around. It was like, where's the desk? Where's the cubes?
Where are the books?
Where's the books? So we're a little bit lost. We
Mhm.
go upstairs, those stairs that you saw briefly. And of all things, we were going to go to like a history of baseball exhibit. A lot of the libraries, New York Public, Boston Public, have beautiful art exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's talk to that woman first. And we walked over to a woman who.
And she gave us, she said, look, let me help you out here. Like, what you need is a reader's card, which is basically a Library of Congress card. Anybody can get one.
Adam's got his.
His
sure.
pulls his out.
Nice.
Boink.
So she said,
Don't show too close if it has any like
Oh, yeah.
no,
you know,
no, I don't think
important information.
No. Well, it has your number.
I'm verified.
NSA comes after us.
But
Sorry, go
she said, basically you have to go downstairs again. You have to check your bags,
Bring your laptop.
bring your laptops or whatever you need to do
your
work.
ID.
Okay.
Then you go up a floor, and you have to go into this other area where you fill out a form online, and have your picture taken.
Mhm.
It took about 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Well, once you get the reader's card, the Library of Congress actually has, I think, 24 or 25 sort of micro libraries. There's the Patent and Trademark Library. There's a Rare Books Library. There's a Library of Latin America. There's,
Okay.
and there's the main reading room. And that was the beautiful,
Yeah.
a 30 or 40 foot room. It's a big octagon. And it was just so amazing.
Yeah.
I picture the Library of Congress being kind of like the modern day Alexandria in terms of that library
It
and
is,
the
exactly.
the scope of what's in there is
yeah.
impressive to say the least.
It is the largest
Yeah.
library in the world. In
Is
terms
it
of
actually the library? Okay.
In terms of its collection.
Holdings.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Not surprised actually. I think about it.
And it's, yeah, it was, so that was
Interesting.
but is that our favorite library? I mean, that's an amazing library.
Most powerful experience in a library had to be. We like Boston Public
But
Library.
the library that we go to frequently
Yeah.
is Woburn.
Okay.
You were asking about favorites. Woburn is the one that has combined the old and the modern seamlessly,
Mm.
and literally seamlessly. We were there for the opening of that library. They had well over 1,000 people waiting to get in and see the space.
Wow.
One of my college roommates works for CBT, the architect firm, and he showed up with his parents and his wife, and they were just giddy, because he wanted to show them where he had seamlessly, as Greg said, joined the glass part of the modern library with this old, I don't even know
19th
what.
century.
Yeah,
Oh wow. Cool.
just perfectly done. We were the first ones to get into their study rooms. I'm not sure if we were supposed to be let in, but a gentleman in the trustee's office had the security card, and we went into the study room. Later that day, wasn't it the same day? The dozens, or the people who had funded that room, came, and we got a picture with them outside of their room.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So there's all these little sort of happenstance that we
It makes it so much
we
fun.
found
Yeah,
in library land.
So, quick note for you, that comment earlier about the them discouraging people from using libraries for business purposes. She said she heard it on a Facebook group called Library Think Tank.
Huh.
So if you want to check that one out,
We'll
Yeah,
definitely
thanks very
jump
much.
in. Yeah, it's
let
awesome.
me ask you this. So now in talking about all the different libraries, clearly Tyngsborough is not a Library of Congress or a Boston Public Library. How do we stack up in terms of a small town library versus a lot of these other libraries?
So here's what I like, people who aren't locals and want to know a little bit about this space. So huge parking area.
Okay, right. We do have a
convenient.
lot of parking. Yeah.
And the reason they need so much room is City Hall and the city offices are
Mhm.
right next door,
Mhm.
kind of back that way.
Yep.
And I kind of like the idea of a mixed-use space where, hey, unfortunately you have to pay a parking ticket or you have to pay your excise tax.
Maybe check out a book.
Exactly. Check out a book or check out a telescope.
Mhm.
So
Maybe a driver's manual.
yeah, you can get more, but you can get more into like how we actually rated the library. But I sort of like that mixed use.
See,
I think some communities are.
I'm not a fan of the mixed use. I grew up in a town where our library was originally in our town hall. It was one or two rooms in the town hall.
Okay.
And it's really limiting. In our town at least, it's taken. They eventually built a library, and they've since built a third library. But mixed use can work, and I think it does work here.
So you're both on opposite sides of the coin from it, which is it's good because it allows you some kind of something to talk about.
Yeah.
One's for, one's against. Do you think it detracts from the library?
No.
No, I don't think it does.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if we've seen where it has.
Well, before you think of that, we're also in a space that serves multiple purposes.
Well, even this
Tyngsborough
room, yeah.
TV.
Right, yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen media centers, but
Okay.
I don't think we've seen a community access TV station.
In a library.
Easton has a room they can use at the library adjunct, but that's a little different. That's for like podcasting and things like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And of course, right over my left shoulder, this is a government office.
Right. We're in the
too.
selectmen's chamber,
which
if
gives
wanna
you
call it
guys
that,
easy access when you have to do a select person's meeting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like
So
Right.
it's.
Makes my job easy in some cases.
But how you stack up? So we do rate libraries.
Okay. Right.
And we have 11 criteria, and actually, Tyngsborough comes out at 4.27 out of 5.
James, can you pull that up
So
for me?
that's,
The ratings page.
So that's
James is falling asleep over there. It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
So I mean, it rates really well.
Okay.
I mean, as a town library, I think it does a really nice job. And we liked.
See if we can find
think it
Tyngsborough.
was-
Find Tyngsborough for me, and then put the mouse on it, and I'll
Good luck. It's
rub it.
It's sort of higher, probably, or will it update?
no. Oh,
It's right here.
yes.
So let me ask you this: you kind of had.
maybe
There we
not.
go. Yeah, I see it now. You had said that your rating system was slightly controversial in terms of how it worked. So what is it that's controversial? Because looking at it, go back up to the top where we see the different criteria you've got.
Oh.
Scroll to the top of the ratings.
Yeah.
sheet. There
That's
you
what
go.
I don't like about it. The way that scrolls.
We'll fix that.
Yeah,
someday.
that's okay. It's details. Parking, transportation, which we do well at. Wi-Fi. I
We
think
do
all
well.
of them have to have Wi-Fi now, right?
Well,
For the most part.
They
You
all
would-
have Wi-Fi.
You would think.
But I was in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and you needed to have a library card to use a local library
Oh,
card to use
really?
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
We've also been to some libraries where, you have to log in, or you have to go to the front desk and ask for the password. So there's
Okay.
different kind
Yeah.
of gradations of.
Interesting.
of
Yeah, to see
Wi-Fi.
different ways different places do that. You've got meeting rooms, condition. So meeting rooms probably was one of the most important things for you guys, being able to have
Yeah.
private
It
meetings. or-
helps. Not every day do we need to, close the door and have a chat, but pretty
Okay.
often we do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Condition, I imagine, is that like upkeep of the building?
Yeah,
That kind of condition?
We used to call it cleanliness, but we realized that it's more than that. It's is the furniture in good repair? Is it
Mhm.
well painted? Is the
Mhm.
are the what shape is it in?
Okay.
And I know here in Tyngsborough, I think there's plans this fall to do a lot of internal work in terms of painting and cleanup and carpeting.
Right, yeah.
which
Yeah,
will
they're going to
be-
do some updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
And that's the kind of
Um,
thing that I think is great to see libraries doing.
What about this completeness and community sections here? What do
So-
those mean?
So completeness, if we go to a library that's only a children's library,
Mhm.
that's not a very complete library. I mean, it's great
I
for
see what you-
kids.
Okay, right.
When we see a library that has a library of things,
That helps.
that's more complete. The bigger the collection, the higher the score.
Yeah, we're
I
sort of
see.
assuming every library has books, every library has
Right.
DVDs.
It's a given, I think.
Yeah.
And here in Massachusetts, if you want a book and it's not in your library
Right.
or in your library network, the entire state is available to you. So, we assume that anything you want here, you'll be able to get.
Okay, interesting. So where were we here?
Oh,
We left off
community.
at community, right? That was the next one.
Community, are people using the library? Is there, we were at the Cambridge Library yesterday,
Mhm.
and you walk in and there's just a buzz there.
Okay.
You know,
So you're talking like foot traffic, basically.
not just foot
right?
traffic.
It's both.
There's a cafe there.
Yeah.
And so people are sitting in the
Oh, I
cafe
see.
talking. There's people, in shared work areas.
Mhm.
There's just, you can just feel that this is a place where people come to spend time together.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the other part of community is how they reach out to their community and what kind of events they schedule. So we always try to check out the message boards.
Yeah,
we
the
check,
bulletin
we
board's
try to check
important.
out the calendar. Libraries are having excellent guest lecturers, people who come in. What's the library that sort of the civility discussions that they
was,
wanted to have?
Wilmington.
Yeah, so sort of using this as a truly democratic gathering place where
Okay.
anybody, CEO to homeless person to middle schooler can all be in the same room together and hopefully at some level sort of engaging.
That makes sense. Let me ask you this question, kind of somewhat off subject, off the topic of what we were on. But how have libraries tend to be a place where homeless people will gravitate towards? Have you seen a lot of that in the library visits you've made? Is it, how have libraries kind of dealt with that situation? Because clearly you don't want to kick somebody out
Right.
just because they're homeless. Everybody has the right to use the library.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But how have they kind of dealt with it? Because, you have other issues around that, unfortunately. But
It's funny. We've seen libraries, obviously, the homeless population is part of the population of the library.
Right, yeah.
And it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're there. It's funny. We were down in Savannah and we were talking to a librarian, and she was talking about their main branch. And she said, we've got, a homeless population here. And we said, many libraries do.
Mhm.
She said, sometimes we'll have 7 or 8 homeless people come to the library. And we just kind of laughed because if you go to an urban library here, if you go to the Boston Public Library,
Mhm.
obviously there's many more people.
Mhm.
I don't know how libraries manage that. I know in many I've been to, you see homeless folks there, and I've never seen personally any problems.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I mean, I've heard like when I was in Lowell, we had every now and again you'd have one that would be rowdy, or somebody that'd be rowdy, and it's not just homeless people; it could be anybody.
Yeah. In Woburn, they had a problem with teenagers. Well, yeah.
Those teenagers.
Oh man, those teenagers! I'll tell you.
They were throwing water balloons off the mezzanine at the Woburn Library, and so now teenagers aren't allowed on the mezzanine of the Woburn Library.
Really?
So,
that's interesting.
Okay. It's easy to kind of say, the homeless people come in. It could be anybody who's causing mischief or miscreancy, as the case may be.
Yeah.
And
it's just something that kind of I've always wondered about, because you get to the the Bostons and the places where there's a much larger homeless population, and then you have people like business people, like they get uppity about, not business people only, but you know what I mean. They don't want to be near them for whatever reason.
I noticed
you have that kind of things going on, dynamics.
Yeah, I don't know if they make an active effort, but I was out in Eugene, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon, a couple of months ago. And much higher levels of usage.
Really?
And,
okay.
And but using computers and
that's good.
You talked earlier about setting up shop. I mean, there was two people. I would guess they were homeless, but they had everything in front of them on their table. They had books that they wanted to read. They were, maybe talking a little louder than I would have liked. But this is their space, and I was just a one-day visitor, a couple hours visitor. So I thought there was a recognition, like Greg said, and you said it earlier, that this is part of the community. This is who we serve. I wonder, maybe like an extension. When I think of a library like Plymouth and some of the urban libraries, we've seen so much classes and coursework, whether that's English as a second language, or helping people with their taxes.
Or literacy. These are all programs that contribute to that community.
Excellent. All right, let's get back to the list here before I forget. Where did we leave? So we left our community friendliness. I think we probably do pretty good here, right? Everybody's probably pretty friendly.
Well, you'd be surprised. To us, friendliness is, how willing is the staff to sit down and talk with us? I mean,
okay.
And we have had so many librarians say, as happened at Lincoln, do you want to see the clock? We were in Air, and someone said, do you want to see our history room? And then she said, do you want to see our basement, which was an old basement that still had dirt floors. And, people want to engage, and that's great. We've also been to libraries where people are not friendly, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's no good.
No.
You're going to have friendly library staff. Yeah. Nobody's going to want to come to your library. All right. So, I mean, that can make, I could see that being, you want to ding somebody for not being friendly. Restrooms, I'd imagine they all have a restroom.
Right? Well,
there's some restroom rules that we're sort of not that happy with. A lot of libraries have keys for their bathroom.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know if this is a lawyer telling them that they need to sort of control access, or something might have happened in the past, but
it's probably what it was.
If
I had to guess.
We were up in was it North Reading?
North Reading, yeah.
Yeah, and the librarian was so nice.
The director there was wonderful.
Yeah, the director was sort of giddy that the library land guys had come to visit. She checked out the website before.
Well, you're like the Siskel and Ebert of libraries, so I mean that's something to get excited about.
Yeah. So
you do kind of fit the bill. I mean, really. You review library,
But
actually,
in real time, she sort of almost course corrected and said, "Yeah, I don't know why we have a key for the bathroom. We're going to get rid of that."
She was like, "It was like that when I got here, when I became the director."
Okay.
But now Gloucester does not have a public restroom.
Whoa.
You have to go across to Town Hall.
Oh.
So
okay.
And Gloucester has some issues with not just homeless people, but with substance issues in the library, and so they're trying to exercise more control over the space.
Yeah.
Some libraries, Hamilton, Wenham, like the bathrooms are pretty nice.
Yeah,
really?
Kind of marble, faux marble or close to marble.
But then you have others that it's like, I'll wait.
I'll hold it.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. All right. Let's see. We'll get off the subject of the potty, and we'll talk about, noise is an obvious one. Comfort level, I would imagine those two kind of go hand in hand.
A little bit.
Somewhat.
I mean, noise is a funny issue in libraries. There are a lot of libraries that, Marston's Mills, the librarians there were calling out to each other.
This is where my parents live. Be careful here.
No. But they said, we're not quiet. we're like a kind of a big open space.
And we obviously a 5 for friendliness. You know, they totally were into what we were doing.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
And they did, they didn't really have private rooms. So
No.
yeah, we were. But the conversations, we were in on the conversations, but we were productive. We had fun there. We totally had fun.
It was fine. But I was in Cranston, Rhode Island the other day, and there they were like, this is library voice.
Could they give you the shh, the ever-present shh noise?
I mean, they didn't say it to me, but
Yeah.
it was posted around, and I was talking to one of the
That's
reference
funny.
librarians and said, well, you can work in that area, but you need to use a library voice. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
interesting.
we can do that.
Interesting. Before we go on, let me quickly just reset this. So today's the Friday wrap up. Obviously, it's Friday, and we are Tyngsborough TV Live. So this is our Friday show where we bring on a special guest to talk about whatever subject it is. If you have something you want to talk about, email me sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov, or you can send us a message through Facebook. If you'd like to come on and talk about something specific. We have these guys because they've been to the Tyngsborough Public Library, and they're doing this really cool library land project, so that's really neat. Don't forget, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, tyngsboroughma.gov on our live video on demand and streaming, and Comcast 8 and 29, Verizon 29 here in Tyngsborough, and also on Instagram if you're watching there as well. So we're doing some little testing with Instagram. Feel free also to leave questions, comments, or whatever on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram if you have anything of our guests. You can ask those questions of them. And yeah, we're just kind of carrying on talking about this conversation, talking about the Library Land Project. It's neat because your goal is to visit every library in Massachusetts. You've hit a bunch outside. You have this really interesting rating system. I've kind of jokingly called them the Siskel and Ebert of libraries. If you guys remember Siskel and Ebert, hopefully somebody does out there. So yeah, it's a neat project, and you're rating them. You're comparing, sort of, which must be difficult because they're not all apples to apples, but you're comparing libraries and looking at different aspects.
Yeah, we try not to do comparisons between two libraries.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you avoid the comparisons then?
Yeah, I try to because.
Okay, maybe it's just me comparing things.
Well, I mean,
you can't help it when you look at stats though by comparing one to the other. So I guess.
And obviously, yeah, I mean, like we know what a 5 is for something.
Yep.
And so yeah, I guess we do, but it's hard to look at two libraries side by side and compare them because, you have big urban libraries that have lots of resources, and you've got small town libraries that have less.
Mm-hmm.
They both might equally meet the needs of their community.
Oh, totally.
And so, we do see libraries need to be viewed kind of in the context of the community, the service that they provide.
That's a good point, actually. That makes really good sense.
Yeah.
That you have to view it in the context of the town or the city because you've got small towns, small library, big city, probably multiple 20 some odd libraries like in Boston.
And you asked about the rating system. A lot of people said, well, I don't need to park at my library. I walk up the street or I take the T. We're like, oh, good point. So, we thought about that. So in terms of serving their communities, that's the most important thing. We have a PR agency. We like to work in libraries. We're not always your constituency, but in some ways, maybe we represent sort of an opportunity for libraries to kind of appeal to those people who don't want to work in WeWork or Work Bar or in their home or Starbucks.
But also having been to as many libraries as you've been to, we look at, I use libraries as a patron. Just yesterday, we were at Cambridge, did some work. I've been listening to the audiobook of The Count of Monte Cristo, which is a real ripping yarn. It's so good. But I know I'm not going to have time to listen to it, the whole book, before I need to return it to the library. So I went and I checked it out. So we do use libraries as libraries as well.
Okay.
And I do go to programs at libraries. I think they're super.
So let's talk about some of this stuff. So we kind of touched on this a little bit at the beginning of the show, but the use of libraries, are the numbers going up? Are they down? Are they kind of sideways?
We're hearing up.
Okay.
We've heard from a few libraries in Townsend here locally has had a big jump in usage. The West Boylston Library, the director there was saying they've had 20% year-over-year growth.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was really impressive. They talked about the fact that their children's librarian in particular has won awards.
Oh, right.
They've got tons of programs for kids. If you go to their library, they've got an amazing kids area. So what we hear is that growth is happening. I think that's when we talk to library people. If you talk to just, the guy on the street, a lot of them say, why libraries? Why do we have these things?
The perception is that libraries serve people with young children,
Mhm.
oh yeah, we always used to take our kids, we get books, we got them into reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then it serves people who are retired or elderly who want a sense of community and the newspaper to read and just to get out of the house. But I mean, hopefully we've seen so many people amongst that spectrum and beyond that spectrum that there's a real vibrancy, and places like Boston Public Library today will be packed. I don't know if any of you have been there. WGBH has
a studio.
Their studio. They've got radio.
Are they they're in Boston Public Library?
They're in the
Okay.
most recent expansion or renovation. They sort of took over one corner of the building, and there's a cafe, the Newsfeed Cafe, that's right there.
Okay.
And it's just a vibrant space, and also the ability to go off. One of our favorite things about that library.
Cocktails.
Well, cocktails
Wait a
are
minute,
good.
what?
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
So you
I
wanna-
think I might have to go to the library today.
Yeah. Well, it closes at 5 on Friday.
Oh, well, I got time. We can.
but
Show's
we-
over. Bye, guys.
So the map room,
I'm just
traditional map room, was a lovely part of the older part of the library, and they opened up. What was that in March?
They did the soft
They
open.
did a soft opening in the map room.
We were the first 2 people through the door.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I had the first drink, but it's a you can read the books are inspired by the cocktails are inspired by book names, and it's a
Makes
fun
sense.
place
Right,
to
right.
hang out.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely vibrancy, and we think a lot of opportunities out there for libraries to get creative.
It's interesting. To that point of either young people or older people, I was at the Charlestown branch of the Boston Public Library, and the head librarian there was saying, our population, yes, we have kids,
Mhm.
but the biggest chunk of it are millennials
Mhm.
who are coming in either to study or to work. And sure enough, I got there, and it was mostly people in their mid-20s to sort of later 30s using the library, much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
It was just interesting because it sort of flew in the face of that population is not using
Mm-hmm.
libraries.
That is interesting. Do you think the internet is hurting libraries, or has it hurt libraries?
No. To be honest, I think that the internet has liberated libraries and allowed them to do more than they once did.
Okay.
It's interesting if you go around the state and see libraries that were built in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
which includes Newton, which includes Wellesley. They're beautiful, complete libraries, but they were built kind of before the information age.
Mm-hmm.
And if you now go to a library, libraries, yes, they have their print, their DVDs, their library of things,
Mm-hmm.
but they also are building social spaces for people to spend time together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. Which you can get it on the internet, but you can't get the in-person social.
Also, the libraries
that's a
have
good point.
the ability to pool their resources to buy things over the internet that a home user wouldn't be able to. So we have a good friend who's a grant writer, a fundraiser. He works with a lot of community organizations.
Mhm.
He's in the Newton Free Library 3 times a week on their database that charts, what the grant opportunities are, what the foundation support is.
Okay.
We heard at another library, I can't remember where it is now, that has Bloomberg terminals.
All right. Yeah, I can't remember.
Really?
the name of
For
it.
like stocks and stuff?
I
Really?
guess, yeah.
Trading and
at,
whatnot?
at some level,
Wow.
that libraries and maybe this, maybe this could be a
What was
Wall
that?
Street thing where you have to get out of your office and you go to the library and you
Could
you
still
log
be-
in.
Yeah.
You log in.
They have the old machine with the ticker tape coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, not so
That would
much.
be cool to
That'd be
see,
neat.
actually.
So let me ask you this, and I don't know how deep you've delved into this aspect, but do you think that cities and towns are dedicating enough funding
Oh,
towards
wow.
their
Oh,
libraries?
wow, this is another show.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
funding, the state funding in Massachusetts has gone up,
Okay.
which is great. It needs
Okay.
to go up more.
Yeah.
There are so many communities that are in need of funds to help them kind of fulfill their commitment to their communities.
Mhm.
So do they need more? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
learned a lot.
Fair enough.
We went to the State House earlier this year to Massachusetts Legislative Day.
Mhm.
So librarians and administrators all over the state come to the library to
Come to
In-
the State House.
State House. Sorry.
Librarians
Well,
down the
there-
hill or something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, well,
and-
it's the Mass Library Association Legislative Day.
Okay.
yeah, and you meet with your town rep and say, how are you supporting the library? Hey, what's the budget looking like for next year? And
Mhm.
it's a nice sort of nudge that we're out here and
Mhm.
we're providing a service that a lot of institutions, frankly, aren't doing anymore.
Okay. Interesting. Was there anything that and we might have talked about this, but was there anything major that you saw lacking in libraries, like the hours of operation or things like that? That would weigh into funding also.
Yeah.
But anything you've seen?
I mean, certainly as you go west in Massachusetts, the hours go down.
Yeah.
I think smaller and smaller communities have fewer hours, and that's obviously a challenge. I mean, part of me thinks that the Hamilton-Wenham model, where a couple towns said, let's pool our resources and build something, that strikes me as a viable thing to do in the western part of the state, to provide more consistent services. The hours, that's an issue.
Well, it makes sense to accessibility for the folks, but then it also, when you think about the size of the town and the budget of the town, I mean, even look at Tyngsborough, we've got about 12,000 people, and we can't even keep our library open one of the days a week because there's just, the population's just not quite, seems like not quite big enough.
Oh.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe, or they just don't, I don't know if they don't dedicate enough, but,
Yeah.
I won't rip on the budgets of it. But,
Yeah, I don't know the details.
Okay. So this has been fun. This has been a really interesting conversation about the library project. I think you guys do a really cool job with this. Obviously you have your PR business, but that's sort of interestingly lent itself into this library land project, which I kind of find fascinating, where you're using,
This wouldn't have happened without it.
right. Yeah. You're using libraries as your office space, basically, to be able to conduct some business within reason. Obviously, you're not going to be changing, cash changing hands and stuff like that, I imagine, and not trying to not disrupt. But it's a cool project, and the fact that you're going to all these libraries and showcasing them, kind of comparing them, but not really at the same time. You just give everybody a little bit of a rating. It's nice to see your library get rated. It's always cool to see how it stacks up against other libraries.
No pun intended.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're the head librarian or something,
It's not exactly the way I thought our career path was going to go. We've both done PR, mostly for technology companies for 26 plus years.
Wow.
And hearing from more like old colleagues and old friends and current clients that, hey, you guys, we love this project, we love this project. Like, that's been a joy. And we're actually getting recognized in libraries, which is frankly
very cool. Yeah,
It's amusing.
cool and a little weird.
Is anybody else, is this totally unique, or is anybody else doing something like this in the country? Or
I don't know.
We've seen a lot of efforts, and it's usually like a grandfather and a son in Toronto, for instance.
Oh, yeah. I think
have done every library in Toronto. And a lot
someone's
of these,
doing it in New York.
Yeah, New York. There's some Instagram feeds. I don't know, at the co-working and entrepreneurship and library level, I think what we're up to is a little bit different.
And also, I think, our kind of silly quantitative approach, the fact that we're going to go to all the libraries in the state. We're going to rate all the libraries in the state. I mean, it's been as Adam said, it was an unexpected twist in the career path, but it's been one that's been wonderful.
Yeah. So for folks at home watching, whether you're on Facebook or Comcast, Verizon, or TyngsboroughMA.gov, you can get to their website, librarylandproject.com. I just want to mention that before we start to wrap this up, so you can go check it out. And
we've got other social channels too. We're on Instagram,
right?
Library
Okay,
Land Project.
Yeah. Actually, I think we have the Instagram tab up too, so we can show that. Yeah, there you go. So you can see photos, and that's where you have some of the reviews there as well on Instagram.
Not as much. It's more pictorial, and usually I try to do 6 or 7 pictures from each library, so you get a really good sense of what's going on at a library. We have an intern. That second photo there is Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Lydia, our intern,
click through some of those photos.
Did a dispatch. This one is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love.
There's a grandfather clock. Yep, there you go.
The one thing I love about libraries generally is the architecture. The Lowell Public Library is great. The old historic buildings that they use, and a lot of them is just so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, people. I was talking to someone recently, and they said, no one's doing great civic architecture anymore. And I said,
it's very simple. Yeah.
You need to go to the library and see some of the things that are happening architecturally.
Yep.
I mean, even Woburn, where they had the old building and they joined it to the new. They pulled up carpet, and the old library had 4 different hardwood floors, each representing different species of New England hardwood tree.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So that was a really cool little detail that they recovered or uncovered to recover.
That is really neat. That is very cool. All right. So Thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate you spending some time with us talking about this project. I think it's fascinating. I really do. I think it's a cool thing. I think we should have, if you're available, we should have you guys come back sometime with Sue Arthur, our library director, and we can kind of
We'd love that.
rehash again a little bit, talk a
Yeah.
little bit about Tyngsborough and maybe some of the newer experiences you've had between now and that time. But I think it'd be interesting to just kind of talk shop about library. What can libraries do? What are libraries doing right? What are libraries doing wrong? So on and so forth. Everybody who's been watching, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys spending some time with us. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on all this stuff. It really helps us get around all the Facebook algorithms and gets it back out into the community where it's supposed to be. I'm not going to wrap this up just yet. I want to just get to a couple of quick news pieces before I close the show. But again, I want to say thank you to you guys for coming on. I think it's a cool project. So librarylandproject.com. You're welcome. Librarylandproject.com. Go check it out. You can check out the reviews. You can see where all these different libraries stack up. You can check out the pictures. Follow them on Instagram. Do we know what the handle is on Instagram?
It's Library Land Project.
Oh, that's easy enough. There you go. Library Land Project. Perfect.
Facebook too. We got a Facebook.
Yep.
Okay. You can go to Facebook.
Can go
So
follow
so definitely check that out. Go to the library, though. I say this
yes.
a ton.
I love that you finished that way.
There's so many things you can get at the library. It's amazing. I mean, really, go back and watch the interview I did with Sue Arthur a couple weeks back. You can hear the whole list of all the different stuff. Library passes, library of things.
Museum passes.
Books, museum passes. I mean, there's so much stuff. And they're either free or discounted, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You can go to the aquarium for $10.
I have the
The New England
Facebook
Aquarium.
pulled up.
Oh, do you? Okay. But go to the library. Use it. For not just for books. You can go there for books too, but go to the library and use it. There's lots of reasons to have your library card, and the stupid thing is free. The library card is free. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff you get for a free library card, just like these park passes.
That's
you
what
know.
we pay taxes for, folks.
Exactly.
Like,
Right. Exactly. Use it. There's so
Definitely.
much cool stuff. So go there and support your library, because the more people that go to the library, that helps to show that the community is using it more and more, and that then helps with potentially funding as well and stuff. So that's a good thing. Again, thank you guys for coming on. Great work that you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Cool.
And we'll have you back soon. So Adam Zand and Greg Peveril Conti. I got it.
Perfect.
Greg Peveril Conti are the two guys from the Library Land Project. Very cool. So thank you,
Thank you very
gentlemen.
much.
You're welcome. All right. One last look at those guys, and we'll see you next time. All right. So, anyways, I don't want to wrap the show just yet. You guys can hang or you can go. It's up to you. You're off camera, so you're okay. I want to hit a couple quick news pieces before I wrap the show totally. So just a reminder again, recyclesmartma.org. You can go there and search for all of the items that you might be wondering about if it's recyclable or not. If it is or not, you can search it and find it. They're doing some really good work with that website, and it's been really helpful for communities to figure out what they can actually recycle, because there's this whole issue with recyclable materials in the last few months and year, even with Chinese stopping imports and all that stuff. So, but go back and watch the episode I did last week with Julia Green from DEP, Liz Antonovica from the new Sustainability Committee here in town, and also Donna McPartland from the Board of Health. Side note on the Sustainability Committee, if you're interested in being a member of that Sustainability Committee, there are a bunch of openings. They're looking for committee members to join that. So if you're a resident and you have some interest in sustainability, conservation, recycling, so on and so forth, go help them out. You can join that committee and be part of the solution for those problems that are there. So that's a cool thing. And let's see. Again, don't forget July 23rd. Mark your calendars for that special town meeting. August 25th for the block party. Closed captions available on our programming on Facebook and YouTube. So if you have any hearing issues, you can watch our show that way and listen, or read the program. The 2019 Donald Singleton Memorial Golf Tournament's coming up. So if you're a golfer and you want to donate to a really good cause, that's an awesome one. It goes to the Tyngsborough Firefighters Association, and those funds go towards some college grants and for students and to help the Tyngsborough Fire Department. The Tyngsborough High School is looking for. In fact, we should have this on the computer. Can you pull that graphic up for me, James? It's this one. So Tyngsborough High School is looking for families to house students coming from overseas. So if you have the interest and the ability to house a student from overseas, then they would love to hear from you. So you can email Leah Marullo at tyngsboroughps.org, and she'll give you all the information about that. But that's basically for this upcoming school year. It should be right on the desktop. Maybe not. It's okay if we don't get to it. But yeah, Leah Marullo, you can talk to her about it and get more information. So if you have the ability, that would be a really cool thing to be able to do, to house one of these exchange students for the school year. Also coming up, community yard sale, July 27th. Saturday, July 27th. I'm going to have more information on this coming up very soon. I'll have Allison Page come on, and we'll talk about the community yard sale and what that all means. I did talk about it on the news this past Monday, so you can go rewatch the news if you want to hear a little more information about that. And June 23rd, it's not the 23rd yet, is it? No, okay. The 22nd Annual Fishing Day, brought to you by the Tyngsborough Dunstable Rotary over at Tyngsborough Sportsman's Club, June 23rd, 10 to 3. You can go fishing, have hamburgers, hot dogs, they get gear and all that stuff, so you can have some fun, do some fishing, and enjoy yourself over on the pond. That just about does it. Can you pull up the the weather for me? So, first day of summer, yay, but it's still raining. It doesn't seem to want to let go. However, the weather actually looks halfway decent for the weekend, finally. We finally get a nice weekend weather. Saturday, clear. I can't read those totals. Can you read that? It's small.
Where is
Let me
it?
guess the totals for the day. Actually, let me do this. Here we go. Let's use this thing. All right, so it's going to rain tonight again, right? Rains every day practically. But Saturday's supposed to be really nice, high 78. Sunday, again, super nice, sunny, high of 86. That's going to be a good beach day. And Monday is also going to be another nice day, 81 and sunny. Maybe it's a call-in sick day. Maybe. And Tuesday is going to be rain again. So right back to it. It's crazy. This weather's been nuts. It's rained so much. It's actually rained more than it hasn't rained. It's insane. But anyways, it's going to be a nice weekend. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy it. Get outside and enjoy some of this sun, because who knows how long it's going to stick around for. The sun is coming out again, looking at our high-tech weather center, and I do see it peeking through clouds, which is always good. Thanks to Ray, Sam, Kaylee, and James for sitting in and doing stuff, helping, finding pages and switching and doing Instagram. We're on Instagram right now, too, so if you're watching there, that's really cool. Eventually we're going to feed a direct feed from what we're broadcasting on TV into the Instagram, but for now we're just kind of playing with it on the phone because of aspect ratios and whatnot. So yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, tyngsboroughma.gov, live video on demand and streaming, and you can also watch at Comcast 8, Verizon 29. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and stop talking, let you get outside and enjoy the sun. Have a good day, enjoy it, enjoy the weekend, and we will see you Monday with the news. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.